League has a toxicity problem. It has for a long time now. The general negativity, calling a jungler bad 24/7, asking to surrender every 2 minutes, it's annoying of course, but it's not what I'm talking about here. League's culture itself has gotten bad, and I've got a really, really good way of demonstrating what I mean. If someone on your team was to write this to you in chat, what do you think it means? I don't expect everyone who's watching this to understand this acronym, but if you've played League more than a few years, you know what it means. This means get cancer. This isn't an acronym that people use in the real world. It's not even an acronym that people use in gaming in general. If you wrote this in any other online game, no one would know what you're talking about. But someone telling you to get cancer is such a common occurrence in League's culture for years now that typing just these two letters is somehow enough for your brain to make the connection of what they meant. And that is the problem with League's culture. No one told me what GC means, but I figured it out the first time I saw it years ago, and I figured out what it meant when my ADC said it to my mid laner a few days ago. Both times he said it to my mid laner, that is. And he didn't get banned for this, of course, because people have learnt the extent of exactly what they can say without getting banned, and they now walk the line perfectly. So many players have made it a minigame within League to say the worst possible things they can and be as mean as possible to people without triggering a ban. And this Kai'Sa player succeeded. She didn't get punished in any way and has continued to play for about a month or so since, with about 40 games played. Now, I don't know who I'm trying to appeal to with this video. It's not Riot's fault. I'm not trying to blame them. They can't ban everyone who writes the letter C. It's more so just an appeal to the general community to realize that it has become so normal for people to do such terrible things in a League of Legends game that you would just never in a million years even consider doing to another person in the real world, which is just mind-boggling. I have a pretty simple rule when I play. I start the game with everyone on my team unmuted because communication is important and it's fun. And then the moment someone shows the slightest toxicity, spam pings, flaming, literally anything, I just put them on a full mute. So I don't think I get exposed to as much toxicity as the average player. The side effect of doing this though is that I probably end up on an average of about 2 to 3 of my teammates muted in the average game. And I usually just spend the second half of the game watching the teammates who aren't muted arguing with the ones who are. And it's just annoying. You know what I mean with this though. 3/4 of the time when you finish a game and you receive a friend request after a match, it's probably not because the guy wants to invite you to duo. 3/4 of the time when you receive a friend request after the match, it's because someone wants to call you a terrible slur and then instantly remove you from their friends list. Now, I don't think anyone really cares if someone says, "You're the worst Darius player I've ever seen in my life," and I don't think I care if someone calls me a muffin or something silly like that. It's banter. It's fine. I have no problem and I love that stuff. But I think we all have a problem with the guy who flamed me all game, got frustrated because I muted him instantly, as I always do with these people, and so he decided to get 3 of his friends together to go into my community Discord and abuse me and harass my community members. And then, of course, he went to stream snipe me my next game just to lightly run it down on Fiora ADC to ensure that I would lose. Of course, he wasn't banned for this. He's been happily playing games for the last 2 months, since again, this guy, like the other, has mastered the art of getting around bans. People now know how to choose their words in order to flame without getting banned. They also know how to run it down and intentionally lose a game in such a way that the system can't auto-detect intentionally feeding. And when they really want to say the bad stuff, they have some workaround way to say it, or they just take the conversation off the platform completely to say whatever they want without getting picked up on by Riot. Now, I'd hope that the best way to stop this from happening would be a good wake-up call, and a community where the majority of people just don't accept extreme levels of flame like this, and people who self-police themselves so they don't act like children. But I don't feel hopeful about this working, and I don't think any of us are. And as I already said, I don't blame Riot here as well either. They're obviously working more overtime hours on chat moderation than any other gaming company out there. So in order to create a hopefully temporary semi-solution, I'm creating a channel in my community Discord where people can go and leave screenshots and whatever other evidence they have of accounts who abuse people in this way, which I'll leave a link to in the video description. You shouldn't have to put up with being called terrible things in about half of your games just because people have learnt how to dodge bans with insane acronyms and clever choice of words. My hope here is that if I make the work really easy for them, someone at Riot will just drop in on occasion to give the channel a look, just to make these people a little bit more accountable for what they say. So, to kind of sum it all up, I think this tweet by the pro player Fudge summarizes everything I've talked about in this video pretty well. Guys, at the end of the day, we're all just pressing buttons on a keyboard. A little bit of fun and a little bit of banter is fine, but messages like this shouldn't be something I'm used to seeing on a near daily basis for like 10 years now. And acronyms like this just shouldn't be something that any of us understands.